Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday morning. Welcome. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch. And it's me, Mitch. Always good to see you. Wow. Wow. Look at all the people already starting to come in. And with so little advance notice, because I forgot to actually create this stream until this morning. We'll talk about that. But for right now, my friends, drink it if you got it. Oh, God, that's so good. Oh, wow. So how's everybody doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Man, I cheated you guys. I cheated you. I cheated all the insomniacs. All the midnight posters, the 3 a.m. wanderers. Had nowhere to go last night. There was no chat for this morning live stream. Mea culpa, my friends. Wednesday night. And there's no excuse, but Wednesday night, I had my little weekly video chat with Jonathan. You met Jonathan yesterday, Bagspag family, and we talked and got late. He had to go eat dinner. I had to go to bed, and I did. And woke up this morning. Been up since 5. I said, oh, great. Got plenty of time before the live stream, and it dawned on me about an hour and a half ago. I said, holy cow. I don't think I created that for this morning. Where are these people going to go in the middle of the night when they have nothing to do? Who they going to talk to? At any rate, doesn't happen very often. I've done it before, but here we are. What happens is I'll usually get an email, a Gmail from, maybe Boyd Lamb or Cliff Medina, one of those guys saying, did you forget something? And yeah, nobody emailed me this morning, so I had to remember it on my own. Oh man. And they say this being a YouTuber isn't a 24/7, 365 days a year job. It is. You're always thinking about it. There's always something you need to do, preparing for this stuff. But it's great to see you. Great to see you this morning. And why the hell is my nose itching? God, excuse me. Oh, some kind of a wild hair. Mustache hair turned north or something. Holy mackerel. There we go. Wow. I thought that I would shield you from that image. I got a lot of people in the chat this morning. It's rolling. We are up to 94 people already on a Thursday morning. God, the time just goes by. I'm inside today. We have a private community live stream tonight, and I'm going to be doing that outside. It's going to be fairly warm in the upper 60s. So I'm going to be doing that outside, and then probably do tomorrow morning's live stream from outside, because it's going to be in the low 60s at 8:30 in the morning, and that's fine. What's new? Let me say hi to those people who got here. Don't have any of the insomniacs, but the first one in this morning was Rick from Miami, Charger Mopar about 7:30. Bob Black, good morning to you. Francine Bourgeois in Montreal, good to see you this morning. Mike Seeley from Tampa, how are you, lady? June from across the pond, good. I still morning for you over there. No, maybe early afternoon. Lynn Gerber, hiya Lynn, how you doing? Michael Pregler chimed in, still lifting those heavy weights. Cliff Medina, Mike Seeley Sr. chimed in. You guys poured on it when it finally went live. Cliff Medina says, pharma spending big bucks to the Democrats. To say, you think? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. They'll spend big bucks against anybody that wants to educate the average people as to what they're actually up to. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, there are a lot of miracle drugs that cure a lot of things or help a lot of people. Especially, I mean, I was very, very thankful to the pharmaceutical companies when I had my kidney stone and they gave me those handy little painkillers that just took all the pain away. You know, there are times and places. Unfortunately, they can't make the kind of money they're making now if they concentrate on only things that we really like and want them to make. They have to continue to try to find things that they can hook us on for life so they can be the largest companies in the world with the wielding the most power, throwing around the most money and influence. And once you get a taste of that, they don't want to change. Granny Boo, too, how you doing, Granny? Good to see you this morning. Smoovie 420's here, and Boyd Lamb checked in. Turamira's down there in a duck motif this morning. Hiya, Tuka. Good to see you. Patty Molden's here. How you doing? We're at 8 o'clock. Lizzie, good morning. Terry. Good morning, Terry from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Brother Delphi asked me a question. All right, we'll stop here and answer it. Did you answer my folic acid question? I asked because my doctor said mine was low, and I've been carnivore as long with you. Well, no, I remember the question, and I did answer something, but I didn't answer it. I said something like, I don't think they did a folate on me. And I went back and looked again, and no, I don't have a folate test. But I don't think I need one. Folate, they usually order a folate test if they suspect some red blood cell problems. Maybe you're not making enough red blood cells. Maybe there's something wrong if you're anemic, or some problems with your nervous system. Numbness, tingling in your feet, you know, things like that. I don't think that the VA orders that test, and I never think about stuff like that, because my philosophy about blood tests is very simple. Who cares? Unless there's something that tells me there's something wrong with me. If it wasn't for the fact that I go to a physical once a year to stay on the books and stay current with the VA, so if I have an emergency like I need brain surgery, I'm covered and all that stuff. As far as the blood tests goes, mostly just curiosities for me. I know my lipid tests are going to be wild and wacky, and so when I get a blood test, I hardly even look at the numbers other than the ones that are fun to look at, like testosterone, and everybody's so hepped up on vitamin B and vitamin D. I look at those numbers, and, you know, I found a little low vitamin D last year, so I started taking a supplement. Seems to have fixed that. Take my electrolytes. Very tough to see whether you have enough electrolytes or not from your blood levels, because your blood, those things are so tightly regulated. And surprisingly enough, this year, the one thing that did surprise me was that my sodium levels, my sodium was the range starts at like 130 106 and my sodium was 135. So I said to myself, well, I'm not, but it did say low next to it because it was 1 point under the range. But the range is a tight range. And God, with the amount of electrolytes I take and the amount of salt I eat, I'm not going to worry about that. That's the only thing in my mind that most people who get blood tests, it causes, and their doctor's reaction to those blood tests does nothing positive except nothing positive at all. What it does is it just makes you worry about things, creates stress, gives the doctors more and more reasons to try to fix something that probably isn't broken, and outsmart our inherited physiology and programming that's been working for millions of years without these doctors and these drug companies. Now, there are conditions, there's genetic problems, there are just things, damage we've done to ourselves. Let me get rid of that banner down there. Damage we've done to ourselves that will cause a problem, and some blood tests may show it up, and there may be a treatment called for. But the treatment of normal metabolic health in a healthy or nearly healthy individual that hasn't screwed up everything because of their medical advice, leave it to your own programming and your knowledge and genetics that have been doing it right up until your generation, or you would not be here. And one of my overarching principles about life in general is don't try to micromanage or outsmart what got you here in the first place, long before we became even conscious and intelligent creatures, let alone what we think we learned in the last 100 years. We learned how to cure diseases. We learned how to fight viruses. We learned medical advances have been fabulous. But the so-called medical advances that have declared that substances that the body needs to be healthy and has been manufacturing in exactly the right quantities for millions of years, substances like cholesterol, food that we eat that have been responsible for humans becoming humans and the brains growing and becoming big, the proteins, the red meat, the things that got us here in the last 100 years have been deemed poisonous to the human body and must be eliminated. That is the epitome of stupidity. It's not even ignorance. It is just stupidity. It is the lack of any understanding of how we got here and the arrogance and greed and corruption of the human animal. So, to answer your question about folic acid, no, I have no idea what my folic acid is, but I know that I have no peripheral neuropathy, I have no anemia, I have no red blood cells. There would be no reason for a doctor to order that test for me. And if you have those things, if you have some anemia and you're feeling weak, and you're feeling weak, and you have peripheral neuropathy in your feet, and you feel tingling or numbness or anything like that, might just be old age, but yeah, folic acid test might not be bad. Folic acid is pushed by vegetarians and vegans who think that if you don't eat plants, you can't possibly live. That's that. So I hope that answers that question for you. I was saying hi to people that were here. Aaron is here. How you doing, Aaron? Rick is back. 829, back to the horse race. CB Carmack, good morning to you. Good morning. And Tanya, how you doing? Mitch woke up just in time. Yeah, you and me both, Tanya. I woke up just in time to to actually have a live stream this morning. It's great. Marla Kelly, how you doing? A29CB is back. Gary No Slow chimed in. Robbie Autry jumped the bell by a millisecond because Don Schonger ding 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 was the winner at 8:30 this morning. Way to pay attention. I'll drink to that. I will drink to that, followed by Edward Renner. Cecilia Heil, how you doing? Scott Evans chimed in and joined us. Ketra Naylor, Lori's here. Life After Carbs, Chris, Terry, Sue, Dixie, Scott, hiya, Dixie, Jennifer, Hip. 130 people in here now. Let's take a look at Rumble. Make sure I am actually streaming. There's some people in the Rumble chat. Let me say hi to them. Oh no, I missed the first one that was here. It reset it when I refresh. But I see Ketra's over there and Lori is over there. Lori's Carnivore Story. Rod Weeder's over there. No Slow. And anybody that chimed in earlier. And Rod Weeder posted my Buy Me a Coffee link. Just popped up. Wow. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. I appreciate that. Wow. Isn't that nice? Somebody is, I don't want to say shilling for me, but has my welfare at their heart. And I do appreciate that you guys care for me, and I will follow suit by posting that link myself. And thank you for yesterday. You guys are very generous in helping me offset some of the expenses of going over to see Kilts and everybody this next weekend. Yeah, it's next weekend. A week from tomorrow, I'll be doing my Friday morning live stream. Probably have to keep it to about an hour. I'll be packed and ready to go. As soon as I'm done, I will jump in the car, drive to Tampa, check into the hotel over there, relax. There'll probably be a lot of people that are staying at that same hotel. I'm sure I'll run into people. There'll be a lot of people to talk to. I'll jump in the car about 3 o'clock, drive down to Sarasota to Kiltsy's house for the big barbecue. After the barbecue, drive back to the hotel in Tampa where there'll probably be a lot of people congregating in the lobby and meeting places until wee hours of the morning, and be up Saturday morning to go to the question and answer session, which I assume I'm not involved in, or they would tell me. So it's okay. I don't want to be in a question. And let the doctors do that stuff. Let them answer those tough medical questions that everybody throws at them. And that goes to 11 o'clock off to the Brazilian Steakhouse with a horde of hundreds of people. I would imagine 100, 150 people who are coming to that luncheon. And after the luncheon, back home. Only thing I don't know yet is Saturday morning if I'm actually going to be able to sneak in a live stream because the Q&A session starts. I may actually just, from my cell phone, if I got good service, just do an impromptu good morning live stream from there during the Q&A session and give you all a little glimpse at what's going on. So I'm planning on that now, but I'm not taking any studio gear or anything to set up to do a full-blown, music or anything else. So we'll see. It'll be fun. And Ketra Naylor's in over here as well. Carnivorous Cat Mom checked in. Graceful Lily checked in. This is all 8:30. Charger Mopar William McCartney, Moto Mofo says, yo. I love it. Steve McAvoy from South Carolina. Hiya, Steve. Hey, where's the cigar? No cigars here in the morning inside my house. Now, when I go outside, baby, I love the cigars, but sometimes I rethink whether I actually hurt myself too much with too many people who just can't tolerate it or turns them off. There's things that turn me off. If I tuned into a channel with somebody constantly stuffing their face with donuts, I'd probably look the other way too. You can't change too many people. I'm not going to give up who I am, but I may play it down. But I got news for you. Tonight on the private community live stream, there will be cigar smoking. I'm going to be doing it from outside. I know that those people are not judgmental, and most of them accept the fact that I'm not going to die from cigar smoking. Deborah Collins, how you doing? Deborah Collins says, hey, 5th anniversary today. Happy anniversary, Deborah. 5th, man, newlywed. Holy cow. Susan Ivy's here, 8:31. We get to 8:31. Richard Williams from Copper Hill, Tennessee. Lewis L. from New York. How you doing, Lewis? How you doing? Good to see you. And it's funny because Lewis comes on to the live stream. He doesn't have anything even close to a New York accent, but I make fun of him anyway. Aaron says, I don't got it. I got to go get it. Okay, Aaron, we'll wait for you. I wish I had some elevator music to play right now. I would play that while we wait. But you probably got it by now because this chat happened 20 minutes ago. Danny in Boston, good morning. Danny, Susan Ivy, how you doing? How you doing? And Tuka's here. Peter's here this morning. He chimed in at 8:31. Okay, and man, all the new people, and I'm so far behind already, but that's okay. I'm in no hurry this morning. No hurry this morning. Jackie W. is here. Good to see you. And Claudia Burkick. Hiya, Claudia. How you doing? Peter's all over the place again. Tuka says, how are you, boss? If I was any better, Peter, it'd be illegal. It would be illegal. Ribeye Susie's with us. Good morning. Fernando Pasas. Good morning. Good morning, Fernando. How you doing? That's a new name. Pasos. I may have seen you before, but if not, welcome. Glad you found us. If you're still here, some people have dropped out already. Well, 125 are here. Josephine C., how you doing? Sandra McDonald. Good evening from the future in Australia. Always good to see you, and I'm too spooky for you. We're supposed to have record-breaking temps today. Can't we wait to feel the warm sunshine? Good, yeah, one extreme to another. They call that weather. That happens. Weather happens. Yes, it does. It would be kind of boring if it never changed. It was always one temperature all the time. Because it may not be the temperature that everyone agreed was perfect. Lat's here. How you doing, Lat? Good to see you. And here's Aunt B with a question. Good morning, Mitch. Are you getting more excited about eating with Dr. Kilts? I've eaten with Dr. Kilts a number of times, and I can tell you, Kilts is a great guy. Very warm and compassionate, and I really like him. I don't know if I'm all that excited about it. I'm excited about going to a barbecue at his house. That's something that you never see. And from what I understand, he lives in a fabulous place in Sarasota. So I'm looking forward to that. And there's going to be 50, 75 people at his house. And he lives on an island right on the water. And my first question is, where the hell is everybody going to park their cars? Or is he going to have a shuttle service to his house? I don't know, but we'll see when we get there. I haven't asked. So amidst the excitement, there's a little trepidation about, well, what am I going to do? How, I can walk a couple miles if I got to park that far away, but and what are his neighbors going to think when all of these friggin' carnivores invade their neighborhood? Which is a very private neighborhood, evidently, and I imagine, I've never been to it, that it's gated and has security guards and everything else. So it's going to be a very interesting thing, and I'm not going to be having a cameraman with me chronicling the whole thing, but I'm going to be shooting some things that chronicle my adventure anyway. Some of the, maybe some of the driving and some of the stuff between my cell phone, and I'll take one action camera with me. I'll be able to capture all of it and hopefully share the experience with you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I got an email here. I don't think it's a coffee. It's my daughter telling me what she wants me to change. I don't know what she's talking about. Let me answer her. No, she'll have to wait. I'm live streaming. She should know better than to ask me to deal with that business if it's not urgent. Resting Witch Faces here, Laurie's Carnivore Story. Sandy Blythe, look at you all. Look at you all. Okay, I'm up to about 8:40. Am I at 8:40 yet? 8:40. That's a good time. That's a good time to stop. Okay. Wow. Time flies. Time flies. I enjoy saying hi to you guys. I know some of you would rather me just get it over with. I get so many impatient people sending me comments. I got a comment yesterday. From a guy. I mean, I got ranked out. I got told off by this guy. Comment on a video. I want you to know that I had to wait 3 minutes and 30 seconds before I actually got any information answering the question you posed on the thumbnail. You need to, God, I love that. You need to get to the point. I just hit him from the chat. I just got rid of I don't ever want to see anything from this clown again. Because if I got into a discussion with people like that, that would negate everything I do to try to give people time to just get together with their friends here, or watch a video that has some interest, maybe builds a little suspense. Does this clown, when he pays $10 to go into a movie theater, expect a 2-minute long movie with the ending and then that's it, the credits? Or does he want to hear a story? And that's what I try to do in my videos. So what am I going to say to this guy? Why do you watch TV? Why do you go to movies? Do you want the ending first? Or do you want to be somewhat entertained? Do you want to have some suspense built up? But I don't dare. Why would I start a dialogue with a moron? Why would I start a dialogue with somebody that feels that they have the right and the need to tell me what I'm doing wrong? God, that just pisses me off. I shouldn't let it piss me off, but it just does. It's indicative of what's wrong with 95% of the human race. Every day, just having to live among these people. And these are the people that get into power and get into positions in our governments and think they know more than everybody. And they now have the right to tell you what to do and make laws to ensure that you do what they want. These people don't deserve to live among decent, caring, non-judgmental people that will live and let live. And I got 2 of those comments on one video yesterday. People disapproving of the way I do things. Just go away. How many times I got to say that? If you guys that are here right now, I'm sure you all agree with me. If you don't like the way I do things, nobody's forcing you to watch. You didn't pay for it. Believe me. I know if you left me a comment like that, there were no coffees with your name on it or super chats or anything other than 3 minutes of your incredibly valuable time. How dare I waste it? I needed that. Sometimes you just need a good rant. Declare yourself. If you don't believe me, try it sometimes. Sometimes you just want to go out there, walk to the highest hill where you know nobody's around, put your hands up in the air and scream at the top, obscenities at the top of your lung. It's very cleansing. Makes you feel good. It really helps. I feel better already. So I take whatever time I need. I go through the introductions. I figure we're not here to get in a hurry to get to the end. I can see that because the longer these live streams go on, This is what I take from it. I have 139 people now. And the longer these live streams, I don't care if this went on till 11 o'clock this morning. It would be 2 hours or more before I would see people getting tired of it. So I figure we're all here for the same reason, to enjoy some time together. And eventually I'll get around to everything. And if we didn't get to it today, guess what? I'll be here tonight. Well, for the private community. I'll be back tomorrow morning. And ad nauseum. So, we'll get to it. It's just like that question about the folate. I'll get to it. I'll get to it. How long we all been on this planet? Another day or two isn't really going to matter. So I got some show notes here. I got some show notes before I was wildly interrupted by that email. And put your QQQs in the chat. You all know that right now. Buy me a coffee. You know that. You know I'm going to the Kilts meetup. You all know that. And that'll be Friday. And I'm already a messenger for somebody. I'm already doing people's biddings. I've already been asked if I wouldn't corner Dr. Ovadia and ask him a particular question on behalf of one of my viewers. And I said I would. I don't mind that, but I'm not, I may not be able to ask. I may not be able to corner him. I may not want to ask him medical questions on behalf of my viewers. I will, but what happens if he thinks that's out of line for me? So, if you're listening, whoever wants me to do this, I will, if I think it's appropriate, and I test the waters, and I think it's okay for me to get into a medical discussion about your problem or your I will. So, but that's not why I'm going to that thing. I'll help if I can, but I can't go there with a big list of, well, if you're going to be meeting him, would you ask him this for me? Because I can't get in touch with him. He won't answer my email. Well, Mitch's messenger service. We have pictures to show this morning. We have pictures, so let's get to that. Hold on a second. We have Aaron Booby Goats. Look at that. Look, oh man, I don't know if that's a bad cowgirl, a motorcycle gang member, but look at these pictures. Oh, let me get Sandy Bly's name off the screen, out of the way. Sorry, Sandy. I always do that to you guys. I always end up covering up things. Look at these pictures she sent me with the new Mitch Fits t-shirt. Is that fabulous or what? Isn't that great? I love it. And we have more this morning. We have more. Let me find it here. Wow. Let me find it. We have, where is it? We have, here's another one. Oh, wow. I love it. Hang on a second. Here we go. Look at this. Nikki W. Hiya, Nikki, the Nixter in that Mitch. I love that. That's a sweatshirt, it looks like. Isn't that great? That is fabulous. And you look so happy wearing it. Thanks so much for sending me that picture. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we have one more here, I think. One more. Got a lot of pictures. Yes, one more. And I'll find it. Mike Seeley Sr. sent me a picture of him with his coffee cups. And where is it? Oh, I get so many emails. Here it is. I get a lot of emails, guys. I get tons. tons of emails. And let me frame it up properly. And there you go. This is Mike Seeley, Senior, on the balcony at his condo here in Melbourne, Florida, not 5 miles from where I'm sitting right now with his Old Guy Carnivore coffee cup. Look at that. Looks good on you. It looks good on you. I like the blue. I have the blue myself. But thank you for sending me that picture, Mike. So those pictures, along with a few others that I just got, probably sometime today, I will get them up on the website in the gallery. Go look at it at oldguycarnivore.com. I just got a new Gmail from somebody. Oh, Brooke Summers says, Brooke, Spiritual Nomad, Brooke says, I got my shirt picture to come. The story may be worthy for show notes. I hope the link works. Oh, he keeps sending me Facebook links, or she. Brooke, I cannot read a Facebook link. I cannot. I have no Facebook account, nor will I ever. I had a Facebook account. I will have nothing to do with Facebook. I don't care what everybody else does. I tell my kids, you put pictures on Facebook that you want me to see, you send it to me by email. I am not and cannot. Every time I click on a Facebook link, it tells me, enter your account. No. I despise that organization. I have despised Mark Zuckerberg ever since he graduated college. And I won't have anything to do or support that in any way, shape, or form. The same went for Twitter before Elon Musk bought it. The same goes for Instagram or any of those things. They are the enemy as far as I'm concerned. At least they have been. When they change their mind, I do have an account on X, Old Guy Carnivore. I don't do much on it. I don't chat on it or anything, but I am so against the social media. It has allowed the damage that's happened to our country with this woke stuff. Without the technology, without the social media, none of that shit would have ever happened. I have been watching social media destroy the human race and propagate falsehoods and no end to the propaganda. And Brooke just put a question. Smart leaving out Facebook. I sent it out 5 Facebooks. You confirm you already. Oh, you were still talking about that story. Okay, that I did on Tuesday night. Yeah, that story. I couldn't see it on Facebook when I got your first email. But we talked about that article. I mean, I spent 20 minutes talking about that. So go back and, it's on the replay. It's on the replay. Hey, look at this. B-Matt bought me 3 coffees. Hi, B-Matt. I see you woke up buying me a coffee this morning. Thank you. Keep up the good work, Mitch. You're awesome. Wow. Thank you so much. Yes, I am. I'm awesome with an attitude, though, aren't I? And you guys are all awesome, too, man. That's why I love this. That's why I love this. It's a mutual admiration society, isn't it? We all think we're awesome. So I think I gave Mike Seeley the shot with the coffee cup. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. And we still got plenty of time this morning. I'm rambling on. Was there anything else yeah, there was something else on my show notes when I was so joyfully interrupted by the 3 coffees. Wow. And yes, thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. And Neil Alcock. Oh, look at that. Neil Alcock PayPal'd me basically a coffee or 2 through PayPal. And he says, note from Neil Alcock, thanks for the folate reply. Anonymous donation. That's what it says. Well, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. I'm glad I took a look at that email so I could acknowledge it. Very nice of you. Very nice of you. All those little things. There's no such thing, as an insignificant. amount of help to any YouTuber, not just me. It's the numbers that make it work, especially with the Amazon links. You know, it's pennies. It's the commissions are usually on most things you buy less than $1. By itself, it means nothing. But you get hundreds of people using it. It adds up to something that actually may pay a bill or two. So don't ever think that those small things, a $2 super chat, a $1, don't ever think that that's not appreciated. Every little bit. That's how it has to work. That's how it has to work. And another one, Tanya, Kitchen Witch. Tanya, you're too kind. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mitch. The Mitch Fits are an old punk band we grew up listening to, hence the skull. And crossbones in parentheses. Yeah, cross bacon. Skull and cross bacon. Yeah. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. I still didn't get back to the last thing. You can interrupt me all day long with the coffees, but I still have to finish reading my show notes here. And then I'm going to go on the great QQQ hunt. I noticed this morning. And, these things sometimes go right in front of you. You don't even notice them. And then they start to become a trend. Well, I noticed this morning, and I that there is a trend now for pharmaceutical companies to advertise pet prescriptions. Yeah, does your dog suffer from this? This one this morning was about a cat, and they come up with the names. They sound like human prescriptions, but this is for your cat. When did that start? There was 2 of them on this morning. 2 of them. In between the lawyers and the car dealers, 2 animal pet prescriptions, and 3 hospitals. The Moffitt Cancer Center, HCA Healthcare, advertising their hospitals. It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's indicative of the failing health of the human race. That taking over first place for most advertising revenue for morning news shows, taking over from the ambulance chasing personal injury attorneys, from the myriad of car dealers. It's all becoming medical shit they want to sell you. They want you to go to their hospital. And the Adventists are the worst. The Advent runs more ads as if they don't have enough money. They need to make more because that enables them to continue to perpetuate their message. Meat is bad. Okay? Meat's bad. Okay? Fruits and vegetables and plants and grains are good. But meat is bad. Yep. That's my best Mackie from South Park impression. I love that guy. I love that guy. And do I have any more things here? Yeah, my hearts go out to everybody that was involved in any way with that mid-air collision over Washington. As a pilot, I always marvel at those things. I actually marvel at how it doesn't happen a hell of a lot more often because I truly understand the air traffic control system, the places where errors can be made, the absolute incompetence of so many people that are operating machinery up in the air. When I mean that, I mean mostly doctors who bought an airplane way beyond their means as a pilot to fly because they could afford it and are killing people. I'm amazed we don't see more of this. And when it happens, and it will happen, in this case, evidently it was the helicopter pilot's fault. The air traffic controller asked him if he had this particular American Airlines plane in sight. Because they have these planes so close to each other in these busy airports. When a controller asks a pilot, and remember, this is a pilot who is concentrating on his landing approach. The controller, he has to deal with charts. He's navigating. He's trying to turn on final, capture a glide slope. He's busy. It's the busiest time of an entire flight is when you're on approach. And here was a airplane and a helicopter on approach to a crowded airport in crowded airspace at low altitude. And the controller said to the helicopter guy, have you got American Airlines flight so-and-so in sight? The helicopter guy was looking at the airplane that was landing in front of the one that he was asked if he had it in sight. And he said, I have them in sight. But he didn't have them in sight. Now, how many millions of dollars are they going to do on an investigation to find out what happened when it is so blatantly obvious that it was pilot error or pilot and air traffic controller communication error that caused this crash? And 60-some people aren't with us anymore. The fuss that's being made about this and the tragedy that's being made out of this on the news, I look at differently than a lot of people. Yeah, it's a tragedy. 60-some people died. Compared to other tragedies, like what's going on in Israel right now, Gaza, Ukraine, hundreds of thousands of people killed and left homeless, this is nothing. We don't take their tragedies that seriously, do we? Do we agonize over almost 2 million people killed in the Ukraine-Russian war? People that it's not their fault. They're just following orders. How about in Israel? How about those hostages that died? Do we take, we say we feel bad for them, but we lose 62 people? Maybe this sounds callous of me, but shit happens. It's going to continue to happen. Airplanes are going to go down. And the more I learned, believe me, the more I learned about what's really going on in federal aviation, especially my involvement with drones and all of that stuff, and you learn a lot about how the FAA works. The less and less I felt comfortable flying on commercial airliners. But statistically, it's the safest way to travel. When I get out on the road in my car, I don't trust the other drivers either. They're buried so deep in their cell phones. I gave up motorcycle riding. I will not get out on the road on a motorcycle anymore. I'm too old to be broken into bits and have to spend the next 3 years in traction and casts and physical therapy. Not me. I will not risk it anymore. I will not risk it. That's why I drive a bigger car, not a little tiny car, which may be more economical. Anyway, my heart goes out to those people, anyone who lost a loved one. Obviously, there were no politicians on that plane. If there were, that's what we'd be hearing about today. So that's it. That's my show notes. Any questions? Let me start looking for that. Let me start looking. I think maybe I should start at the end of the chat because it's so far. I'm gonna go. I see Kathy question mark. I think Adventists live longer because they don't drink alcohol, not because they are vegetarians. What do you think? I don't know. Who says Adventists live longer? The Adventists? Are they the same people that tell you that the people in the blue zones live longer because they're vegetarians and turns out that they're enormous meat eaters? Bill Schindler proved that. He went and lived with those people. Maybe it's because, I don't know. We always go into these things, these statements of fact, with pre-assumed truths. Like when they tried to figure out why the French have 1/7 the rate of heart disease that the Americans do, and yet they ate the highest fat diet in the world, saturated fat. Everything is butter, cream sauces. I mean, even their pastries, even the stuff they bake is just dripping with fat, saturated fat. And they have 1/7. So that was a confounder in Ansel Keys' studies. So he left France out of his 7-country study. How could he put France in there? It would disprove his hypothesis. He did that with 15 or 20 other countries that went against the chart he was trying to draw. And people said, they called that the French paradox. How could saturated fat and cholesterol be bad when the French have the highest fat diet on the planet Earth and one of the lowest rates of heart disease? So they went out to search that out. They went out to say, well, we have, and their assumption was, and this is what I mean about false assumptions. The scientists started with a given that was indisputable in their minds. And that given was, well, we know that saturated fat is bad for you. We know that saturated fat should be killing all the French. It must be something else they're doing that counteracts the deadly effects of all that saturated fat. Think about the logic of that. They started with a false assumption. Turns out, saturated fat is actually good for you. People who eat more saturated fat are healthier. All that cholesterol shit that Ansel Keys proved is 180 degrees wrong. That one mistake has accounted for hundreds of millions of deaths and suffering. And yet the doctors today are still pushing that narrative, and nobody's pushing that narrative any more than the Seventh-day Adventists. So when somebody tells me that the Seventh-day Adventists, God bless their religion, but not their dietary advice, and they have turned the dietary advice into a religion protected by everything that is politically correct, and don't you dare question it, because then you're questioning God, not diet. That's how they manipulate us. And then they call us deniers because they say it's settled science. Settled by whom? All of these stupid things like climate change, global war, all of these go by the same exact playbook. And it all starts on a false assumption, totally ignoring reality and common sense. And nobody wakes up to this stuff. Well, very few of us wake up to it. So, your question, I think Adventists live longer. I got news for you. Adventists don't live any longer than anybody else. If you looked at I would bet on that. If you look at the averages, you would find that anybody who avoids ultra-processed foods, Adventist or not, is going to pretty much have the same health. And that's because, is a vegetarian diet better than the standard American diet? You bet your life. And if a vegetarian manages to supplement enough, and most vegetarians are not vegans, they're strict vegetarians, but they will allow themselves eggs and dairy. A lot of people do that. They will get some animal proteins. And yes, they can be healthy. And yes, a Mediterranean diet done right is healthy because it's not processed foods. It's real foods. And the people that eat the Mediterranean diet over there in Greece and Italy and those countries, through generations of detoxing the vegetables before they eat them, by proper cooking methods, by soaking things, by taking the skin off of things, they have found the way to make those plants much less poisonous. So yeah, there's nothing wrong, and many people live. You can't use those people as examples of how we should live. We're carb addicts of the highest order now, and that's the first order of fixing yourself, is overcoming the carbohydrate addiction, and we have to do that. So that's a good question, but I don't buy into the premise. And if I don't buy into the assumption at the beginning, there can be no answer. Your question was, what do you think? Do you think they live longer because they're vegetarians? My answer is, I don't think they live longer. I think that's bullshit, along with all the other propaganda that comes out of those people. And I would love to see a study, an unbiased study that wasn't funded by the Advent health system, that actually proves over a lifetime, which none of these studies exist. We have no lifetime studies of humans. We take no humans at birth and feed one group this and feed one group that, wait their entire lifetime, control every aspect of their lives, and then see who dies first. These are survey-driven epidemiological studies at best. They are meaningless. And all that they really can do is generate some hypothesis for further testing. They can not make any conclusions because of association or correlation. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. But inquiring minds want to know. And it's a good question, and I think that it's a question that should be asked often, so that somebody can come along like me and point out why it can't possibly be a legitimate question. We don't even know, we don't even have any proof, period. Nothing, no proof, no study, no medical thing, no nothing that comes close to showing that there is any kind of causal relationship between saturated fat, cholesterol, and heart disease. We have no studies, zero credible evidence. All we have are manipulated drug company studies, 1 out of 20 that they can somehow manipulate to show a tiny little benefit of taking a statin. The rest of that shit is meaningless. Most of it is funded by the companies that are trying to prove something. Or, like Ansel Keys did, leave the France. You can't put France in a study that says saturated fat will kill you, because the French are healthier than everybody. So people started to say, well, how do you explain the French? And they couldn't, so they had to come up with some kind of an answer. And what did they say? It's the red wine. The French, and then everybody in the world said, well, if I'm eating all this poisonous meat and saturated fat, I better start drinking wine. I don't even like wine, but I'm going to start drinking wine for medicinal purposes. And the world then welcomed 50 million new alcoholics. Thank you very much. That's another offshoot of Ansel Keys and his thing. Ansel Keys indirectly created more alcoholics on this planet. And huge liquor and wine superstores. The fact that 7-Elevens now sell wine. Every supermarket's got aisles devoted to wine. Aldi's got wine. Everybody's got wine. You can't find a housewife now that hasn't always got a glass of wine in her hand. And these people have been led to believe that it's good for them to drink sugar and alcohol. Are you kidding me? You have to laugh at the stupidity and the ignorance and how easily people are led around. Now we've got alcoholic carb addicts from the wine. I know them. I know personally. I know so many people that can't go through the day without a glass of wine or 2 or 3. You can't watch a TV show. I don't even care. I don't care if it's a detective show or something else. And it's usually women, but the men are there too, but they always depict the woman. The woman cop goes home after a hard day. What's the first thing? Right for the friggin' wine bottle and a wine glass. And every scene after that, she's got the glass of wine. The guy heads right for the bar. He's pouring himself some whiskey into a glass, either neat or on the rocks. That has become part of normal. Normal. It's not normal. It's addiction. And the worst addiction we have is the fact that our food is associated with everything we do. And we can't do anything now without stuffing our faces full of junk. And here we are. Here we are. We know the answer. I'll keep ranting. I will. I promise you. I promise you. Even if I'm terribly far behind. It's 9:30 now, so I'm officially like, oh God, far behind, my friends. But it's still fun. It's still fun. And I like common sense. And anytime I go on one of those little rants and you think I'm way off base, please tell me about it. I won't think less of you. I would take it as a challenge to tell you why I think you're looking at it maybe from the wrong way. And I still, even though I have fun with it, accept the fact that I may be wrong, even though I have t-shirts that say I may be wrong and I doubt it, about things like that, about things where I see glaring flaws in logic, especially in these medical statements. I'm not wrong, and I generally don't open my mouth. I don't ever bet. I'm not a gambler because I only bet on things I know I'll win or I have some control over, so I don't gamble. And I never would bet that I'm right and you're wrong unless I had the receipts and the proof before we made the bet. I will not, I always allow for the fact that maybe I got it wrong. And if I do, tell me about it. Everybody's still here. Wow. I'm gonna go up from the bottom just to see if I want to catch the questions first. And then if I miss saying hi to some of the new people, there's Gemito 48. I hadn't seen you yet. Mark Booz is here. Hi, Mark. How you doing? And I'll see all you guys tonight too. Scott Elliott. Wine is nasty. I would have a glass of wine. My kids wine, they're, onophiles, if you know what that means. That's a wine connoisseur. And I would always have half a glass of wine just to be sociable, but I stopped doing that when I became carnivore because it's sugar and alcohol. There's nothing, and then they tout wine as having, I love this, polyphenols. It's got polyphenols. It's like, if you remember Idiocracy, the movie. Remember the movie Everybody's seen it. If you haven't, you got to go watch it. Idiocracy. They had Brondo. Brondo was evidently the final version of Gatorade, and Brondo became the only thing that anybody drank. They did away with water. And 500 years in the future, we were so dumbed down and so stupid that Brondo was the biggest corporation on the planet and made the most money, and everybody had to buy that stuff because that's all there was to drink, because everybody at that time knew water was just for toilets. And they were trying to water the crops with this Brondo, and it was killing the crops. But the commercial and everything, and every time you heard Brondo, they followed it up with their tagline, "It's got electrolytes." And, people said that mindlessly without even thinking about it. That's how we are. That's how we are. It's crazy. And wine's got polyphenols. Must be good for you. What the hell are polyphenols, and do we actually really need them? Or do we only need them, like so many of these other magical things that fix us, to counteract the poisons from the shit that we're eating anyway? That's where vitamin C is so misunderstood. You're not eating all this stuff. If you're not eating all this oxidative stuff, you don't need the antioxidants nearly as much. You make what you need. We need very little vitamin C if we're true to carnivore. Just because you need this shit to keep you alive with your bad diet doesn't mean I need to eat that shit and its associated bad side effects if my diet is not bad like yours. Logical thinking has been destroyed, and I claim it's been destroyed by the very nutritional deficiencies that we're trying to figure out right now. And this clarity of thought that comes with getting proper nutrition is evidence that most people don't have that clarity of thought. They have brain fog and run around in that fog. And they're out there trying to figure out some way to screw up your life. Stay out of their way. Stay out of their way. Stay home if you have to. It's much safer. I'm going to that meetup next week. The only thing I don't like about that is I'm out there exposed to humanity. I hope nothing. I'll be as careful as I can, but I can't speak for the other guy, especially out on the roads. Questions. Boy, I am in a pontificating mood today, aren't I? I don't know why. Why is it? Why am I in such a pontificating mood? Questions. I'm looking for questions. There aren't a lot of questions in the recent chat. Where am I up to? I'm up to 909. Okay, and where am I in this other chat? 839. So let me keep looking. Here's one. Spiritual noise. Smart leaving out Facebook. Okay, I saw that one already, but let me go further back. I'll tell you one thing about Mitch's morning show. I'm back to the beginning as far as I can go in that chat. So I think I got to the end. Whoop. Brooke says, question, the feckless clown misses the point. It's about camaraderie in the community. Yes. Oh, you're talking about when I said I give the... Of course. There's a reason. Listen. I monitor many things. I know when you guys are starting to get the deer in the headlights. I know when I'm talking to somebody about carnivore, when it's time to stop. I know when I'm overdoing it, and I've learned that. And I've learned trying to help people that you can't help people that won't even acknowledge that there's even a problem. That they think the way they're doing it is normal. You can't help an alcoholic until he admits he's an alcoholic and comes to that first meeting, gets up there in front of everybody else and says, "Hi, I'm John and I'm an alcoholic and it's ruined my life and I need help," and shares his story. You can't drag a drunk screaming and kicking to an alcoholics meeting and think it's going to do any good. And the same thing with people, because they're so addicted that food has become their greatest pleasure in life. You may as well tell them that they'd be much better off if they just stopped breathing. It's out of the question. What would life be without it? People have to realize this for themselves. That's why legislating changes from the top down will not solve a damn thing. It'll create black markets for people to get their addictive drug of choice, which is sugar. This is not going to be solved by a top-down approach. We may start to legislate against the propaganda itself, which they did with cigarettes. They banned advertising of cigarettes. Maybe the best thing we could do would be to start with an advertising ban on pizza, donuts, ice cream, and all the other foods. Maybe we could start with an advertising ban on pharmaceuticals, just like an advertising ban on lawyers holding up million-dollar checks will take the winning the lottery aspect away from gambling addicts and other people looking for an excuse to steal money from somebody else because of their misfortune. Many of us have misfortunes. We never get paid for it. Ask me, I'll tell you. The lawyers are getting rich. Maybe the best way to start, maybe the best place to start would be trying to get these triggering images and messages away from the eyes of children and the general public. That would do more good than a law saying you can't manufacture a food with this particular ingredient. They will come up with a way to skirt that. They always do. They will tie it up for 10 to 20 years in a courtroom of law, and some judge will put a stay on it, and it won't go into effect until long after most of us are dead. If they even manage, if there was enough money to even pay the lawyers to keep the case alive that long. There are too many tricks. It has to come from the desires of the people themselves, and those desires are being stimulated every day, bombarded with the greatest triggering messages for the strongest addiction that mankind has ever seen, and that is sugar. And it can't change that rapidly and meaningfully as long as we're still addicts. And proof of that is the war on drugs. How long has heroin and cocaine been illegal? How long? Have we made a dent in its use? How much money have we thrown at the war on drugs in my lifetime? How many trillions of dollars in law enforcement, in drug-seeking airplanes, in drug interdictions, in military incursions into Mexico and Colombia? How much money have we spent to eradicate that killer drug usage in our country? And how can you explain to me the fact that it's worse now than it's ever been? That's because where there's a will, there's a way, my friends. People will always find a way. They did during Prohibition until people started just ignoring the laws. They said, well, why are we still doing this? Everybody's drinking. I mean, they're serving alcohol everywhere. No, everybody's laughing at this. We can't enforce it. People who want to drink are going to drink. We haven't fixed a thing. They did it with marijuana. Same thing. Trying to eradicate marijuana. The money they spent on that. And they finally threw in the towel. Because people wanted it because they're addicts. So, all right. If we can't do away with it, let's figure out how to make money on it. If we can't cure gambling, let's figure out a way to tax it and have lotteries. People are going to feed their addictions, whatever they are, and nothing you can do short of curing that addiction, which once an addict, it's very tough. That's why people can't maintain weight loss. It's just obvious. So all this, I'm laughing. I'm sitting back. I'm watching all the Robert F. Kennedy stuff, all the big plans, all the big ideas. We're going to fix everything. We're going to get red dye number 3 out of the food. Well, big effing deal. That solves nothing. And even if they did outlaw sugar, you think people wouldn't still get sugar? That's not the answer. That's not the answer. And there is no answer. That's the problem. The only answer is not for society in general. The answer is for individuals who wake the hell up and realize that they've been poisoning themselves. And for most people, they continue to poison themselves because that's their only source of pleasure anymore. So how do you change an addict that knows he's an addict, knows he's poisoning himself, and yet it's out of the question to give it up? I'd rather live 10 years less than give up my pizza and ice cream and beer. Okay, we're entitled to make that decision. That is called autonomy. And I don't care if somebody does any what you want. You don't ever hear me lecturing people, oh, you need to stop that. I don't care if you want to kill yourself, go right ahead, my friend. I think suicide should be legal. Because that's what it is. It's just slow, long-term suicide. Suicide by doctor is what it is, and suicide by prescription drug. Oh, wow. Am I waxing poetic this morning? Where does this shit come from? Why do I do this? I don't know. I just... the FDA needs to recognize... Here, Ed DLC says, question, with 4 question marks. That a boy. First, the FDA needs to recognize that carbs can be addictive and they are bad for your health. They add a warning to Coke and pizza ads. Yes, they should do away with those. I think the cigarettes weren't as harmful as the carbs. I think had we remained a nation of cigarette smokers and not ever been exposed to the sugars, we would be much healthier today. It was I think it was I mean, I hate to say that because I think there would have been very little lung cancer. People smoked for 100 years before lung cancer became a thing. Lung cancer only became a thing when people started eating enormous amounts of sugar. Could it be that the stuff we're discovering now about cancer, that it is a metabolic disease, that most cancer cells are fed by sugar and not could it be that the lung cancer became a thing and the cigarettes got demonized because of the tremendous amount of sugar that we were eating? I think that's more likely. That's more likely. Because there's still 110-year-olds that have smoked cigarettes all their life and still smoke 4 packs a day. And if they haven't damaged their lungs so bad by emphysema and COPD and things like that, it's not the cancer that's killing them if they're not eating the sugar. They're also eating bacon and eggs and meat and all that stuff in the morning, in the diner in the morning, and they're not having French toast and breakfast cereal, skim milk, pancakes, orange juice, donuts, and pastries for, quote, breakfast. Everything can be explained easily and logically, and you can all take everything that happens and everything that is back to a root cause somewhere back in time that makes sense. And that's until people start looking at the world like that and stop tossing off fantasies and other stories that can't possibly be true and look at reality, they'll never have answers. And even if we had answers, with the addicts that we are now, I think we're in for a real culling of the human race over the next few centuries. You're seeing it start already. The populations are decreasing now due to, well, just look at the infertility caused by this high sugar diet, the hormonal disruptions, low testosterone. I mean, it's coming. All the signs are there. And we can't turn it around because people will not give this crap up. They get too much pleasure from it. And that is an ancient survival response. It's the techniques our subconscious mind uses to motivate all animals to put in the effort and get what it thinks they need. And unfortunately, the subconscious minds of all human beings think that we're in survival mode and need to be on a desperate search for sugar, or we won't live till tomorrow. That's where most of us are living. And the only time we stop living in that place is when we actually become fat adapted and get used to an all meat, no sugar diet. We find out what it's really like to be alive as you're supposed to be and off of that sugar roller coaster. But there's a reason for that sugar roller coaster, and there's a reason for the pleasure we get from it, because those dopamine responses, those neurotransmitter responses are there for a reason. Nothing exists in our physiology for no reason. No evolutionary benefits, no survival benefits. And the reason that those pleasure responses are there, and that those pleasure responses exist not only in humans, but in your animals too. It's why your dogs are getting fat and getting cancer, because you're feeding them plant food. You're feeding them the wrong food. You're feeding them sugar. They're not supposed to eat sugar. They can become diabetic like us they become sugar addicts too, is the pleasure response that sugar causes. And that response is how the programming in the brain actually motivates a conscious or not conscious animal to get what it knows it needs to have the raw materials to run the machinery, both energy-wise and building materials, to fix things. It's that simple. It's that simple. It's why I'm so pessimistic, and I call BS on so many of the things I hear, especially all of the miracle this, quick fix that, whether it be a supplement, whether it be an eating style. It's why I'm so adamant about the fact that cheating of any kind is dangerous, that I don't recommend a keto diet to anybody other than somebody who knows for a fact that they're not addicted to carbohydrates. That just lowering your carbs would be like an alcoholic lowering his alcohol consumption to 1 drink a day. If you can be happy with just 1 drink a day and have no cravings, making you miserable, torturing you to have that second drink, you're not an alcoholic. Good for you. Don't tell me how easy it is. You have no idea. You're not an alcoholic if 1 drink a day is okay. So, I go on and on and on. Anyway, one question takes me down rows. And I hope I'm saying things that I still have 153 people here. And I think you guys are probably... Dan Galasso says, yes. He says Brundle, but it's Brondo, B-R-A-W-N-D-O. Brondo. It's what plants crave. Yeah, that was, you got to watch that movie. You got to watch that movie, Idiocracy. Mike Judge made that. It was a brilliant prophecy. And it was made in 30 some years ago. It was a brilliant prophecy. And look into reality of where the human race is headed and where it's going to be if we don't change things in 500 years. It is fabulous and stupid in so many respects. But the concept of the movie, right on the money. Idiocracy. We are becoming. There are so many people today that are actually saying that was one of the greatest prophecies for the future, better than H.G. Wells, better than all of them. Prophecy of where the human race is heading. Everybody should see that. I've seen that movie 10 times, and every time I see it, I'm reminded of just what a prophecy it was. Let me catch up on the coffees here. I know it looks like somebody bought me a coffee. Jason Myers bought me a coffee because we're not eating the beans, just the warm, glorious nectar they like to hang out in. Cheers, Mitch. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Jason. I appreciate that. And let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. No, didn't miss anybody. And I got another email. Okay, that was not applicable to this. Let me take just another couple minutes before I say goodbye. I'm sure I maybe missed a question or two, but I am running back here, running forward, trying to find them. And I did enough talking already for this morning. Look at all of the comments. Here's something. What is this? I think I saw a QQQ. Where is it? There it is. Oh, Brooke says, I didn't realize I resent the email. Oh, okay, Brooke. Okay. We've got that. I was wondering if there was something you wanted me to address that I hadn't already addressed. But yeah, Facebook. Now, Mark Zuckerberg is now kissing the ring of reality, and I doubt he's a Republican yet, but he has done a few things. And when they stop censoring and they stop community guidelining and they stop fact-checking, which he said he was going to stop, and they stop with the propaganda and they stop being bought off by all of these forces and all the money that comes from these companies that need their message out there or they're in big trouble. Maybe I'll get a Facebook page. But I don't have time for a Facebook page. I don't have time for Twitter. I don't want to be buried in my phone all day long like most people are. I want to enjoy life a little bit too. I want to enjoy life. All right, people are getting tired. I see people are starting to drop out. I think people have things to do. Here's a question, Peter. Why entertain trolls, idiots, and haters that make stupid? Yeah, I don't entertain them, Peter. There's a simple philosophy and a way that they used to say it in the old days that I still say it to these days. I say, I don't suffer fools. That says it all. And I never have. I never have. And I will not. What do I care what they think? Go away. Get out of my life. You know, there's a lot of people out there whose paths have never crossed with mine. Most people. Billions of people whose lives have never intersected with mine. Even with being on YouTube, they haven't. And occasionally your path intersects with a real pain in the ass. The next thing you know, you got a stalker, you got somebody trying to sue you, destroy your life. Better to avoid these people before you even get close to them. And that's my philosophy about trolls on the internet. I don't care what they think. They're telling me what's wrong with me. Defending yourself is the natural urge. I just say, go away. I have to. All right, I'm trying to get down to the end of the chat here. Make sure there were no late questions. There's still so much chat. I'm at 9:29. Holy cow, I'm still half an hour. Nah, my friends, I think we're going to have to call it this morning before we all lose interest. Even I can only take so much of me. There's that one talking about the FDA, what they need to do. Yeah, somebody needs to come out and finally admit, people, you're all friggin' carb addicts. It's worse than you think. It's why you're sick. It's why you have diabetes. And they start an education campaign, and that will fix 1% of the people. The other 99% of the people will say, okay, I'm a carb addict. I just love it too much. I'm not giving up my donuts and pizza. Sorry. And think of the business impact. Think of the economic impact. If every restaurant, pizza place, everybody that sold sugar and bad food, every convenience store, every manufacturer, every distributor, every transportation company with fleets of trucks delivering all this crap, delivering those pallets of crap to Sam's Club. What would happen if that stopped overnight? It would be economic chaos, and half this country or more would starve to death because there's not enough real food to keep people alive. That's a sad fact. I would say most of this country would be dead if they didn't have sugar, which is survival food, to keep them alive. And that's why we're all living in survival mode and not health mode. It can't be fixed. We have to be careful. If we try to fix it too fast, we could really shoot ourselves in the foot, as they say. And B, some days you are up to your eyeballs and fed up with their crap. It just has to come out. Yeah, it's stuff I think about all the time, B. And I do it here. I don't dare talk like this if I'm among other people. They think I'm crazy, just like if I tell them about my diet. But in this group of people, these are, I've learned, it may not be a huge group of people, but it's a huge group of critical and logical thinkers. That's for damn sure. Why else would you even be interested in going so against the grain? Lat says, talk to my Bassets about sticking to a meat diet. They eat weeds. Yeah. Well, maybe they gotten a little addicted to the carbs. It's hard to say. I've never seen a lion chewing on a bush. Have you? Maybe they have at one point if they were starving to death, and like humans, there was nothing for them to eat, but they're such fabulous hunters that they usually probably find something to kill. And there was no organization marching up and down with signs saying lions for the, or people for the ethical treatment of lions, stopping them from killing their food because It wasn't kind. Wasn't kind. Mr. Lion, you need to start eating plants. But I'll get sick if I eat plants. Well, but you're politically correct. Here's a witty noise. Hey, what a great name. You're wise behind your years. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Because my years are up there. How much beyonder am I going to get? That's great. Thank you. And welcome. I've never seen you before. Witty noise. I like that. That's cute. Very creative. Thanks for being here. And Gemmet says, Mitch, scroll back. You have QQ. Yeah, I'm beyond scrolling back at this point, my friend, before everybody goes away in sheer horror. But I had fun today. I had fun. I just love to get shit off my chest. I don't have plumbers coming today. Steve McCoy, Mitch, you didn't answer my. Sorry, Steve. Missed it. I'll try again tomorrow. Can't do it all. I'm a one-man band here, my friend. Gemmet says you missed questions. I told you a long time ago I'm going to miss questions today. It is what it is. We can't be here all day. Here's another question from Gemmet. Why are the NFL and sports figures doing cereal and junk commercials? Sickening. You gotta know the answer to that. Let me tell you something. Somebody from General Mills came up and said, Mitch, we watch your YouTube channel. We love your YouTube channel. And we hear you badmouthing our breakfast cereal. We don't like that. What would you say if we offered you a $20 million a year contract to do commercials for our breakfast cereals? I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. They say everything has its price. That would be $20 million a year. How many years I got left? Am I really changing humanity? Am I really changing the world doing what I'm doing now? Do I want to prostitute myself for $20 million a year? I'm not going to tell you how I might answer that, but I can tell you that it would be a tough question to answer. When I struggle for $5 coffees and pay the bills. And that's why athletes will advertise anything. And most YouTubers will advertise anything if they get paid enough money or even not enough money. That's the way of the world. That's the way of the world. It's unfortunate. And that's an interesting exercise for me to say, what would I do? If one day you see me on a breakfast cereal commercial telling you how good it is for you, along with a cartoon character, and you don't see me on YouTube, what happened to Mitch? I don't know. His whole channel got deleted. All his content's all gone. You'll know they made me an offer I couldn't refuse, and that's the name. That's the name of the game, my friends. It's all Godfather-like stuff. I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. And people don't refuse. Why do you think we have so much corruption in politics? Why do you think politics corrupt so many humans, so many people that started with lofty, great intentions until they got thrown into that cesspool and learned that if they didn't play the game, they were going to be killed or ejected or never reelected, smeared, slandered, sued, criminally prosecuted because they're not towing the company line of their crooked party leaders. And you see it all the time. So yeah, they're corrupted by the money, and the money is tremendous. Well, listen, my friends, I don't lie, Steve, because it's just pay me. Yeah, you know it. You know it. And, we've all done that a little to a certain extent. We have. That's human nature. You have needs. You have to do whatever it takes sometimes, even if it's something you don't want to do. If you need to do it. Here's a last question of the day. Seaside, how you doing? Good morning, Mitch. Who tried the carnivore diet first and succeeded in losing weight? That's an interesting question. I don't understand the context of it, because are you talking about historically? You mean who was the first person in history to try the carnivore diet? We lived on the carnivore diet for millions of years. Or who was the first person in our community, or who was the, I don't know what answer you're looking for. We'll talk about that more. But for right now, my friends, I'm going to give you a little happy music, which we haven't had yet today. And with all the rant and raving, I got serious, but I didn't get angry. Not me. I'm too happy. I am happy. The sun is shining. It's going to be in the mid-70s today. I'm going to do my live stream from out on the back patio tonight. It's going to be a glorious day for me, and I hope a glorious day for all of you. So take a minute, say goodbye to your friends in the chat. It is after 10 o'clock. We've gone on long enough. Many of you are still hanging in there with me, and that's so flattering. So flattering. Always good to see. Always good to see. And chiming in right now, we have Steve McAvoy. Steve McAvoy, Jemmet, Claudia Burkick, Laurie's Carnivore Story Charger, Mopar, Lat, Aunt B, Jemmet, Lat, wow, Seaside, that was a question. And Aunt B again, Granny Boo, Steve McAvoy, you guys are just chatting away. Brother Delphi, why did God tell us not to eat pork? Well, I'll finish on that note. You talk to God, you let me know. I got a few questions for him. I personally never met anybody that talked to God. Or listened, or had God talk to them either. That's... I'm sorry, man. Don't get me started on... Don't get me started. I'll probably piss off a lot of people. Okay, my friends, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. It was great to see you. And until tonight for the private community, and tomorrow for the general pool of Mitch Fits. Take the rest of the day off, my friends, and eat meat.